Today we're talking about how to come up with and validate video ideas your audience actually wants to watch. Because here's what I keep hearing from brands.
We want to grow our YouTube, but we don't know what content to make.
They see the potential of YouTube, but they're struggling to figure out what videos are actually worth making and going to drive results. I run the leading YouTube agency for brands. We've generated billions of views for our clients, and that doesn't happen by guessing which videos to make. So today I'm giving you the exact system we use, a 3-step process for figuring out what content your audience wants using AI, if there's enough demand for the idea, and how to make sure it succeeds on YouTube. By the end, you'll have a repeatable process you can run to find winning video ideas every single time. Now, before I walk you through the system, I need to make sure you understand what separates a good video idea from a video idea that becomes a massive outlier, because it's not what most people think. Coming up with good ideas has never been easier. You can go into Claude right now and generate 100 video topics in under a minute. And the list will look good, but a list of ideas is only a starting point. It might even be a bad starting point, depending how you use AI. So the real unlock isn't figuring out how to come up with ideas, it's knowing how to validate them. It's looking at a list of 100 topics and being able to say, this is the one worth making. That's exactly what this 3-step process does for you. Step 1 gives you great video ideas by looking at what your audience is already asking for. Step 2 validates those ideas by looking at what the market actually wants. And step 3 is about the execution of the idea. Can you position and package this video to actually get views? You need to get all 3 steps right for your video to win. Let's start with step 1, audience signals. The first mistake people make when coming up with video ideas is they start from scratch. They treat it like a creative exercise. What could we make videos about? Wrong question. The right question is, what does our audience already tell us they care about? And I promise you, you already have the answer to this question inside your business. Let me show you what I mean. So your sales team talks to prospects every day. On those calls, people ask questions, raise objections, and describe problems or uncertainties. And every one of those moments is a potential video topic. If 10 different people ask the same question, that's not a coincidence. It's a signal of demand. Same thing with your CRM data and support tickets. What pain points keep surfacing? What common problems is your audience telling you about over and over? And here's one almost everyone overlooks. Your existing content performance. What blog posts are driving the highest engagement? What email triggered the most responses? Which of your videos are outliers? And vice versa, what flopped? These are the signals. Your audience is already telling you what they want. You just need to listen to them. Now that you know what you're looking for, the question is, how do you get it? Because you're not gonna sit there and read through hundreds of sales calls yourself. This is when we loop AI into the process. Gather the raw material. Sales call transcripts, emails, support tickets, CRM data, comments on your videos or social posts, and then combine it with context about your business. Like your target audience, the problem you solve, your unique value proposition, your website, then feed all of it into AI and prompt it with something like this. Based on the audience data I provided, identify the most common problems, questions, and pain points that keep coming out. Then generate YouTube video ideas around them. The output you'll get when AI has real context like this versus little to no context isn't even comparable. One gives you good sounding ideas, the other gives you topics as if they came from someone who's been operating inside your business for years. This video you're watching right now is a perfect example of this. We didn't come up with the topic by prompting AI out of thin air. We uploaded hundreds of sales call transcripts and asked NotebookLM to surface the challenges and questions that come up most. We use NotebookLM for this because it can handle massive amounts of context at once and only pulls from the sources you provide, not its general training data. So the answers you get back are grounded in truth and not hallucinations. Of the 100 results it gave back to us, we don't know what videos to make was in the top 5. So this video isn't an idea we brainstormed. It comes from a pattern AI surfaced from real conversations with our actual audience. That's how we knew this topic was worth considering. And that's what you need from this first step. You need a pool of ideas that make sense for your audience based on data, not guesses. Now, knowing what your audience cares about is a strong start. But if you want to know which video ideas have the most potential to outperform 20, 50, or even 100 times on YouTube, that's where step 2 comes in. Now we shift from audience data to market validation. In this step, you've got a good idea. Now you need to prove there's enough demand for it. And to do that, there's 2 key things to look at. The first is search data. You're trying to answer one question here. Are people actually searching for this? Start by going to YouTube and typing your video topic in, but don't hit enter. The autocomplete suggestions are the phrases YouTube knows have demand. If YouTube is finishing your sentence, that's the first signal. Then head over to Google Trends and search both broad and long tail search terms that represent your topic. Look at the overall demand and also the top and rising queries for each term. That's where you'll find specific angles that are gaining momentum. For this video, we looked at terms like YouTube content strategy, video ideas for YouTube, and AI for YouTube ideas. These terms, along with other queries that surfaced, showed solid demand and further proved that there's an appetite for this topic. As you dig around in trends, go between the YouTube search and web search filters. YouTube search shows platform-specific trends, but web search shows you broader demand. This matters because YouTube content shows up in AI search overviews more than ever as one of the top cited domains. Quick side note, if you want to learn more about how to get your videos to show up more in AI search results, we got a video here that you can watch. The last thing to look at for search signals is to use keyword tools like vidIQ to get actual search volume numbers. Search both your broad topic terms and longer tail variations to get a better picture of the opportunity. You're looking at two things, volume and competition. Ideally, you want high volume and low competition, meaning demand for the topic is outpacing the supply of good content, which leaves room for you to come in and win. But you don't always need that to be the case. Context matters. For example, if your video is highly specific and targets people further down the funnel, like a product comparison, lower volume is expected. The intent behind that search is much stronger, so naturally there will be less of those types of viewers for that topic. What you want here over time is balance. Some videos targeting high volume, broader topics to drive reach, and others should target lower volume, high intent topics to drive business results. So that's your search data validation done. Next, we look at the competition. This is arguably the most important data you can uncover. You need to know if there's room to win or if the space is already too crowded. Start by searching your topic on YouTube and look at what comes up. Are there a lot of videos on this topic? Are they old? Are they new? Are they getting views? Use the search filter to go between relevance versus popularity and old versus new. If the space is full of strong recent videos that are getting a lot of views, that's a harder fight because the supply is already there. Not impossible, but you need to think about how you can do it better or differently. If the competition is weak, few videos, outdated content, low production quality, that can mean opportunity, but you need to make sure it's not weak because nobody cares about the topic. Then most importantly, look for outliers. You want to find videos that pulled significantly more views than their subscriber count or their typical average. If a channel usually gets a few thousand views, suddenly gets 300,000, that's a strong signal. That's showing you the demand for that topic far exceeds what's being supplied. That's where you want to be. The vidIQ or 1 of 10 extensions make this really easy to spot when you're on YouTube, so I'd suggest having that on. Using this video as an example again, when I look at the competition, I notice lots of videos on this topic, and some are really strong from popular channels, but most of them are a few years old, so right away I'm thinking a newer video with more recent information could be more valuable. I also see lots of new videos, but they're from small creators, and they're mostly sub 8 minutes. That tells me there's competition, but there's room here to win with a stronger video that offers more in-depth value to the viewer. And that last insight about value is exactly the kind of thing we need to uncover more of. Because knowing an idea is worth making is one thing, knowing how to execute the idea to win is a whole other thing. That's where step 3 comes in, packaging and execution. At this point, you've validated the idea. Your audience cares about it, and the market confirms there is demand. Now the question becomes, how do you position this video to actually win? Well, first, find a winning format. A format is the structure or style of the video. It's not the topic itself, it's the way you package and present the topic. For example, the same topic could become a listicle, a myth-busting video, a versus comparison, an expert interview, or a tier list video like we just shot last time. Each one would feel like a completely different piece of content, even if the core idea is the same. That's why you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Go and find formats that are already proven to work, then apply them to your own niche and content. I like to use the ClickPilot extension to save winning videos whenever I come across them, so I always have a bank of proven formats and packaging ideas to pull from for inspiration. And when you're doing this, don't just look at your own niche. One of the best hacks is to search broader or adjacent topics in completely different niches. For example, we did this ourselves recently. Tier list videos have been huge in gaming and pop culture for years. We took that format and applied it to YouTube strategy, ranking different tactics from S tier to F tier. It's a format that is proven to hold attention and drive engagement. So we borrowed it and put our own spin on it by making a physical tier list rather than the common digital one. Now, format and packaging go hand in hand. The format you choose will shape how you package the video. So let's get into that next. Create click-worthy packaging. You need to start thinking about a thumbnail and title that win the click. One that drives curiosity, confidence, and clarity. Look at what's already working. What patterns do you see? Use these as a starting point. You want to lean on what's proven while still looking different enough to stand out. For example, let's say I'm creating a video on financial advice. I might do a search for legal advice and see what worked. Here I find a video on legal myths that will land you in prison. So I could adapt the idea for the financial needs with something like financial myths that will make you bankrupt. Another good example comes from this channel, Lo-Fi Cinema, who made a video essay about creativity. 2.7 million views. Massive outlier. Joanna Wiebe recognized the packaging was working, so she adapted it for her video. It did over 100 times her typical performance. She didn't invent new packaging. She built on top of something that was already proven to work. Now, I'm not saying you need to have your packaging done before you make the video, but you should at least have a few strong ideas you know have potential. Because if you don't get the packaging right, it doesn't matter how strong the idea is, nobody will ever see the video. Next, run the best video test. Ask yourself, could your video be the best video someone watches on this topic? You don't need the biggest channel or have the highest production value, but you need to make the most valuable video. One that goes into more depth, uses a more novel or interesting angle, and ideally one that adds information that only you have access to. If your business has data or knowledge that no one else does, that's the kind of thing that makes your video rise above the rest and drive viewer satisfaction. If you look at what already ranks and you can't meaningfully improve on it, sharpen the angle, or move on. When an idea clears all of this, you've found a winning format, the packaging is click-worthy, and you know you can make the best video on the topic, that's step 3 done. And that's what completes the system. 3 steps. When an idea clears all 3, meaning your audience cares about it, the market wants it, and you know how to execute the video to win the click and keep viewers engaged, that's your green light. That's when you've got a validated video idea that has outlier potential. Because you're not guessing anymore. You're executing proven ideas that are grounded in research and data. If this was useful, like the video and leave a comment sharing something you took away. And if you want to learn more about how to grow on YouTube, check out our most recent video here. Thanks for watching.